Now I've finished all three of my drawings. I've got a template layer and an artwork layer for each artboard, so 2 layers per artboard. I worked on artboard 3 last, and you can see that I have all of my layers locked except for the artboard that I was working on. That's so that I don't accidentally select and start drawing on any of the other artboards. What we want to do now is we want to prepare these for presentation. So on this other document, I have the drawings the way that I would like to see them. All of the extra parts of the drawing that went beyond the artboard are cropped out. There's a border and there's a little bit of a margin or white space on our artboards. So I'm going to show you how to do this. First thing I'd like you to do is to hide your template layers so that you can see what you're doing on the artwork. Once you have your template images hidden, the next thing we're going to do is crop our artwork so that it fits the edges of the artboard. First thing we need to do is to group all of our objects together. So let's unlock our artwork layers, and you can see that all these objects are selected separately. So I'm going to drag a selection across all of them on each artboard. I'm going to right click and choose group. This one I have grouped already, so artboard 1 artwork is grouped, artboard 2 is grouped, artboard 3 I need to group that, so I'm going to drag a selection over all the objects on artboard 3, right click and choose group. First of all, let's go to view, and let's just put snap to point on. I've got mine on already, in other words checked, so we want to put that on. And let's also choose unlock guides because we're going to be using guides. And then one other thing we can do is we can also show rulers. So let's do that all now while we're in the view menu. Okay, so I'm back to the rectangle tool. I want to go ahead and click and drag a rectangle so that it covers the entire area of the artboard. And let's go ahead and swap fill and stroke so that I can see the artwork underneath it and the artboard. All right, and I want to resize this. What I want to do is let's get this stroke to be really thin. All right, so what I want to do is get this so that it conforms to the size of the artboard. It goes right to the edges of the artboard. I don't want it to be too short or too far off. Okay. And why don't I go ahead and copy this, select Shift-Command-V. What that does is it places our copy directly over our original. I'm going to click on that frame that I created, hold the Shift key and drag it over to the next artboard. Zoom in and make sure it's aligned. Okay, and then let's do Shift-Command-V again. So that pasted the copy, another copy, directly over the original. Select it, click and drag it while holding Shift. Drag it to the third artboard. Make sure it's right to the edge. Okay, so now I've got a rectangle or a frame around each one of my artboards. So I'm going to use this frame as a mask to mask out the parts of the objects that are going beyond the edges of the artboard. What I'm going to do is drag a selection over my group of objects and also my mask, and then I'm going to right click and choose Make Clipping Mask. And what that does is it makes this rectangle into a mask. Let's do that for the other artboards. Now we need a frame, a visible frame or border for each one of these artboards. So I'm going to hit Shift-Command-V again, and that will paste another copy of this rectangle directly over my my first artboard. And I want the thickness of that to be 4 points. And I also want the stroke to align to the inside. Okay. And let's make 2 more of those. So I'm going to select that, Command-C to copy, Shift-Command-V to paste in place. I'm going to click and drag while holding Shift. What Shift does is that aligns it to a horizontal, to the horizontal plane, so that I don't have to, so that I can drag this directly over horizontally without repositioning it. And then let's do Shift-Command-V again. There's another copy. It goes directly over the original. I'm going to click and drag while holding Shift over to the third artboard. And just make sure that's aligned. I just want to make extra double sure that my second artboard frame is aligned. Okay. Okay. So now I'm going to click and drag over all the objects on each artboard and choose Group. So everything is grouped together on each artboard.